The newest episode of the amazing Digital Circus is here, and I thought it would be fun to go over all the little details that you may have missed. I was honestly surprised at how many little references there were in the episode. Gooseworks actually revealed many of the references after the episode's premiere, and I had no idea there were so many, so I'll definitely be including a good chunk of what she revealed here as well. However, before going forward, I'd like to ask that if you enjoy my content to please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This channel has been doing really well lately, and we are so close to hitting 20,000 subscribers. I seriously can't put into words just how grateful I am. Thank you all so much. Towards the beginning of the episode, after Zooble gives Gangle a new mask, the rest of the gang show up and straight up reference the Unicorn Pomni comic that Gooseworks posted way back in May.
Well, it's possible.
Did somebody say
Shut the f*** up?
The scene right before the adventure starts actually houses two references, both right after each other. After Zooble refuses to go on the adventure, Kane says, "You can shut up now," which is a nod to an old video from Cinemassacre where Inspector Gadget shoots Mike Matei to death with lasers.
You can shut up now.
In the same scene, Zooble gets dropped through a trap door, taking them straight to the adventure. This is actually a reference to the egg Decatur from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Veruca Salt is dropped through a trap door. The next thing really isn't something you could have missed, but I think it's still significant enough to warrant discussing here. After Kane assigns Gangle as the shift manager, she mentions that being a shift manager used to be her job in the real world. That also implies that Gangle herself is the one who wrote that suggestion. I also find it interesting that at the start she seems thrilled to go on the adventure, as it seems normal considering her past line of work, but then quickly cracks under the pressure, putting on a fake smile pretending everything is okay when it's clearly not. This is something I'm sure many people working in fast food can relate to, especially management. So that brings me to the question, did Gangle actually enjoy being a manager in the real world? Maybe she's clinging on to the false narrative that she enjoyed doing it as it's seen as quote-unquote normal. Later on in the episode, when Gangle sends Jax to employee re-evaluation, she plays a training video and says this.
Now I know what you're thinking. I don't want a career in fast food. I want to be a comic artist and eventually launch my own manga-inspired webcomic. And it's cool to have dreams, but you also need to remember that they're completely unrealistic, and you need to stop trying.
It seems like she wanted to be a comic artist in real life, but she instead got stuck working at a dead-end job. This is further supported by the fact that Gangle is often seen drawing in her notepad, so she's definitely got an artist's touch. While we're still on this scene specifically, there's actually yet another reference. That's not even the last one. The flashing happy and sad masks on the CRT is a reference to the Silver Shamrock commercial from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. As someone who has seen that movie a few times growing up, it didn't take me long at all to put two and two together. That's such a deep cut reference though. Now here's a reference that's actually not in the American dub, but in the German dub. In the scene where the Glowing Queen shows up, she calls her children Uzi, N, and Sin, which is a very clear reference to Murder Drones, another show from Glitch, in case you're the one person watching this video that didn't know that. Okay, let's talk about Gummy Goo for a moment. There has been a lot of debate online about whether or not Gummy Goo truly didn't remember Pomni, and at first I didn't buy it, until I re-watched the episode and noticed something. The moment that Pomni calls Gummy Goo by his name, he shares a surprised expression before reaching out his hand. Not to mention that when Pomni approaches him as he's leaving the restaurant, he kinda has a sad look on his face. It's almost as if Pomni saying his name triggered his memory, possibly indicating that this isn't a completely new Gummy Goo, but perhaps the same Gummy Goo who has just had his memory wiped by Kane. It's always possible that the only reason why he didn't say something to Pomni is because he's aware of the consequences. Either way, I have a feeling that this isn't the last time we're gonna see Gummy Goo. There's also this.
Oh, wait, I forgot to ask for a kid's meal toy. You're not a kid. Oh, yeah, an adult toy then. Don't know about that one, mate.
Do I even need to say what this is referencing? Now, the amazing Digital Circus has referenced many things in its 4 episodes, as you've probably seen by this video. But it wouldn't be Gooseworks if she didn't reference Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure. Specifically this scene here with Ragatha.
Hurt nothing. I'm hurt enough. Packages landing on my head, tea parties, dancing lessons.
Hurt nothing. I've been hurt enough. Packages landing on my head, tea parties, dancing lessons.
Many people, including myself, originally thought that these were hints at her life in the real world, and while that's still 100% possible, as of right now, it seems to just be a simple reference. However, we did actually get some potential Ragatha lore details here, and apparently she owned horses as a human? Maybe she either lived in the countryside or on a farm? Maybe? I don't know. Gingle also apparently doesn't think Ragatha is as genuine as she's leading you to believe, which is something nice to speculate about until we most likely get the big lore drop in the next episode, which will focus on Ragatha. One thing I love about this scene is that up until now, things have been pretty formulaic with Pomni, having her consult and talk to various characters, but this episode broke that tradition, as right when Gingle is about to open up to Pomni, she shuts right back down and puts back on her fake smile. This whole scene is just incredibly relatable to many people, myself included. I'm sure a lot of you have felt this way at one point in your life, so this whole thing really hit close to home. Also, I had several comments telling me how wrong I was about this being a tear, and that it was a part of the doorknob, but literally how? Like, you can clearly see, like, why does it go from silver to blue to silver? Like, obviously, like, that is not a part of the doorknob. I don't know why people were arguing about that in the comments of one of my last videos. I have no idea. I do want to mention that I find it hilarious that everyone is just going along with it, role-playing as if they're actually working there. I mean, Jack's got in his car for crying out loud, and Zubul waited for Ragatha to get off of work to drive her home. Where is home? The circus? How does that work? Like, I have so many questions. I guess this is really one of those things you're not supposed to question. One interesting thing about Jax, though, is that his license plate refers to him as being number 1, and a lot of people took this as a hint that maybe Kinger wasn't actually the first person to enter the circus, and that it was Jax all along. And I know some people are going to be like, wouldn't Kinger remember him being the first person in the circus? But that's the thing. It's Kinger. Like, sure, he opened up in the previous episode, but he was also surrounded by darkness. 90% of the time, he is a complete nutcase. So, you know, him remembering stuff is just, like, not even in the question. Most of the time, at least. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely do think there's something up with Jax, and while I think it's possible that he was the first, for now, I'm just gonna say that it's likely something specifically made for the adventure. I'm not entirely sure where I land on this one, to be honest. Towards the end of the episode, there's a scene where Gangle throws herself into oncoming traffic and gets hit by a truck. This is actually a nod to a common trope in anime known as truck-kun, where the protagonist is often killed in a car crash or in some sort of way, getting thrown into a different world and, you know, basically isekai'd. We're almost done, but there's one more scene I'd like to talk about. When Kane is giving Gangle her score for the adventure, if you look at the computer monitor, we once again see the CNA logo. There's not really much to go off of here, but this is only the second time we've seen that logo in the series thus far, so I'm super curious to see where this goes. Like, out of everything with this series, I think the overarching, like, being trapped in, like, the company behind the game, I think that is just one of the biggest mysteries regarding the entire show, and I really hope we get some proper answers by the end, which I'm sure we will. But there are also some books seen on a shelf in the background, and a couple of them have references including XDDCCE. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that, referencing the pilot, obviously, and the other saying MatPat Theory. By the way, there's another 57. That number has appeared several times in the series, and while Gooseworks has mentioned, I think at least I heard she said something about it, about how it's just like an inside joke, I still feel like, considering how prominent the number has been in the series, there just seems to be something with it. I feel like there's more to it. Also, these references when Kane was glitching out just got me so good. I love how self-aware the show is, especially when it comes to the content farms. You gotta hand it to the people over at Glitch as well as Gooseworks. She is a brilliant writer who knows how to poke fun at, you know, the online culture surrounding her show. You know, it's fun to see. So that's pretty much everything significant I could pull out of the latest Digital Circus episode. I'm sure I did miss a few things, but, you know, if there were anything you think was worth talking about in this video, be sure to let me know down in the comments. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, guys, this is Inferno signing off.